The Proxima Gate burned. What had once been a trading nexus, a radiant lattice of transit corridors and orbital platforms, was now a graveyard of metal and starlight. The Zoryth had arrived 3 days before the Dauntless, carving through the outposts like fire through paper. By the time Alina's fleet emerged from the void, all that remained were floating husks, drifting bodies, and the echoes of unanswered distress calls. Alina stood at the center of the command deck, her eyes scanning the tactical display. The artifact pulsed in the chamber below, synchronizing with every system on board. The ship didn't hum anymore. It breathed, like a sentient creature preparing for war. "They're still here," said Ryan Solis, leaning over a console. "Cloaked units along the asteroid field, waiting for us to make the first move." "Then we don't," Alina said. "We make them blink first." Kale stepped forward, holding a data slate, his face unreadable. "The core is adapting faster than anticipated. It's begun reconfiguring our ship's schematics autonomously, redirecting power, rewriting firing protocols." "Is that a concern or a miracle?" Solis asked. "Both," Kale muttered. Alina's gaze didn't leave the display. "Run a passive scan. No weapons fire unless I say. Let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes." Silence settled across the bridge. Crew members exchanged glances, some fearful, others reverent. The changes to Alina were no longer subtle. Her voice had developed an edge, an underlying resonance that wasn't quite human. Orders she gave were obeyed before she finished speaking. Not out of duty, but as if reality itself aligned to her intent. And still, she doubted. She could feel the artifact brushing her thoughts, not with words, but questions. Each battle made it stronger. Each decision it mirrored sharpened its understanding of humanity. Was it learning or judging? Hours passed in stillness. The Zoryth held formation, patient predators. Then, without warning, the artifact surged. The ship lights dimmed. Consoles flickered. A burst of raw data exploded across the comms. "They're targeting our flank," shouted a sensor tech. Stealth units decloaking, moving fast. Alina didn't hesitate. "Redirect auxiliary power to starboard batteries. Fire in sequence, not spread, sequence. Force them into the blast corridor." Solis stared. "We've never." Now. The Dauntless moved like no human vessel had before. Weapons fired in perfect cadence, not just anticipating the enemy's path, but creating it, herding the Zoryth ships like cattle into a trap that hadn't existed 5 seconds earlier. Explosions bloomed in rapid succession. Debris scattered. Kale exhaled. "How did you—" "I didn't," Alina said quietly. "It did." In the aftermath, silence returned to the bridge. Bodies floated through wreckage outside. The enemy had retreated, barely, but the fleet wasn't celebrating. The price of victory now included something no one could define. Later, in her private quarters, Alina sat in darkness. The glow in her eyes had intensified, faint lines of light running down her arms like bioluminescent veins. She could no longer distinguish where her thoughts ended and the artifact's influence began. She still made choices, but she wasn't sure if they were hers alone. A knock broke the stillness. Kale entered without waiting for permission, something only he could do. "You should rest," he said. She didn't look at him. "Can't. It doesn't sleep." He paused. "You mean the artifact?" She finally turned to him. "No. Me." Kale's voice softened. "You're changing. Fast. Faster than anyone predicted." "I know." He hesitated. "What happens when it stops needing you?" The question settled between them like ash. Alina didn't answer, because she'd already asked herself the same thing. Each time she synced with the artifact, it grew more independent, more curious. It no longer simply enhanced her, it challenged her. It asked questions she didn't know how to answer. She stood, facing the viewport. A storm of stardust drifted in the distance, the remnants of Proxima's defense fleet scattered across the void. "I saw something when the artifact activated during battle," she said. "A pattern. Not Zoryth. Something older. There's another core, somewhere deep beyond map space. The Zoryth are searching for it." Kale frowned. "Another artifact?" "No," she said. A counterbalance. Whatever this is, what I become, it's not the end. It's the beginning of something much bigger. Kale nodded slowly. Then we need to find it before they do. Alina turned back to him, her eyes glowing like distant quasars. Then we start hunting. Below them, deep in the heart of the ship, the artifact pulsed once more. Slower this time, like a heartbeat, like it was listening. The journey beyond mapped space began in silence. 3 ships remained in Alina's fleet, each retrofitted with hybrid systems the artifact had designed. The Dauntless led them, no longer just a command vessel, but something more, something ancient reborn through human will. Its hull glowed faintly now, traced with veins of alien circuitry that pulsed with the artifact's rhythm. It wasn't merely piloted. It cooperated. Alina stood on the bridge, flanked by Kale and Lieutenant Solis. Starfield streamed past the panoramic viewports, distant galaxies spinning in patterns only the artifact truly understood. Deep scan complete, Solis reported, voice low. There's something ahead. It's not Zoryth, not natural, but it's emitting a resonance identical to our artifact. Kale leaned over the console, brow furrowed. There's no data on this sector. It's a void. Nothing should be here. Alina's gaze sharpened. Then we're exactly where we're meant to be. They dropped out of slip space abruptly. Before them loomed a structure that defied definition. It was not a station, nor a ship. It was a monument, miles across, suspended in the vacuum like a relic of gods. It spiraled inward like a galaxy, each arm covered in towers that bent light unnaturally. The surface shimmered with impossible geometry. Solis whispered, "It's alive." A voice rang out, not through comms, not from speakers. It was inside their minds, a pressure against thought, a language that bypassed translation. "You are early." Kale staggered. "It's communicating directly." Alina didn't flinch. She felt the artifact inside her vibrate, responding. 2 instruments tuning to the same note. You bring the Resonant Core. You bring contamination. You bring war. Her hands clenched. We brought survival. The structure pulsed. Light coursed through its lattice like thought across synapses. Humanity is incomplete. Your kind was not meant to awaken this. And yet, you did. The Zoryth failed their test. You approach yours. Kale stepped beside her, voice trembling. This place, it's not just another artifact. It's the source, the forge. Alina nodded. Or the judge. Suddenly, the display lit up with warning. From the structure's far edge, vessels detached, sleek, black, angular. Not Zoryth, not human. They moved like thought, surrounding the fleet. Solis turned. We're being scanned, systems, DNA, neural patterns. Everything. Alina raised her voice. Weapons hold. Let them make the first move. The enemy didn't fire. They waited motionless. Another pulse from the structure. Prove worth. Not in fire. In understanding. A challenge. Not a battle, but a test. She closed her eyes, reaching into the artifact. It welcomed her now, not as a tool, but as a partner. She saw layers, patterns etched across the cosmos. Choices humanity had made. Threads of survival, cruelty, hope, brilliance. Every war, every act of compassion, every contradiction. The structure showed her what came before, species that rose, that tried to use the cores for dominion, for purity, for transcendence. All fell, all were silenced. But humanity, fractured, flawed, unrelenting, was different, not because of power, but because they refused to become only one thing. She opened her eyes. We're not here to dominate, she said aloud. We're here because we were desperate enough to listen, to change. The opposing ships pulsed once, then withdrew. The structure dimmed. A single beam of light lanced out, connecting to the Dauntless. No explosion. No damage. Only information, data pouring into the ship like a flood, blueprints of technology millennia ahead, knowledge of the galaxy's true scale, and warnings. Warnings written in gravity wells and dying stars. Kale staggered back, overwhelmed. It's giving us everything. No, Alina corrected. It's giving us a chance. The voice returned, fainter now, as if fading with the transmission. Your path begins. You carry the burden of awakening. What you become will echo. And then, silence. The structure began to collapse on itself, not destroyed, but folding into another dimension unreachable, as if its role in the story had concluded. On the bridge, no one spoke. Solis exhaled. What now? Alina looked ahead at the dark expanse of unknown space. The artifact within her settled, quiet but alive. They had not won a war. Not yet, but they had been recognized, seen, and given a weapon far greater than firepower. Understanding. She turned to her crew. Now we go back. Kale raised an eyebrow. Back! She nodded. The Zoryth are still out there. Still searching. Still afraid. But we're no longer what we were. Humanity just became something new. And it's time we reminded them. Her eyes gleamed with starlight, her voice calm and certain. We were never meant to be underestimated.